Hey everybody, welcome back to Mr. Finn's World History class. I know we're very close here, so I'll try not to yell into the camera so it's not too loud in your headphones or on your computer. But I need you to see this map because this is going to be able to show you where we're talking about civilization starting in ancient Mesopotamia, and we have Sumeria, and we're going to be talking about Egypt and Rome and Greece and all of our early civilizations. So I just wanted to give you an idea of where we're talking about, and seeing it on a map will help you out instead of having to try and imagine it. So here's our map. Let's take a guess. Right now, where do you think you are sitting right now? Are you sitting here? Are you sitting there? Do you know where you are on a map? We are right now, right here, way out in Arizona, from where we will start our journey with civilization. Because where we're starting with the Tigris and Euphrates rivers that we talked about in ancient Mesopotamia is going to be right here. These are, in this area, you're going to have two rivers in modern day Iraq into Turkey. And this Mediterranean Sea right here is where most of our early civilizations are going to come from. So when I say Rome, I talk about here. Greece is here. Egypt is here. Sumeria is right here. We have a lot of our early civilizations around the Mediterranean Sea, which is, again, right here. So this is the part of the map that we will be talking about. When I say we go to China, is here, and India is right here. So we come a little bit further east. We will be looking into some of their cultures as well. But just so you know, this is where we are. And so today we're going to start Egypt. But I saw some of the timelines, and I want to go over chronological order because all of my history classes need to have an idea of the time that things happen. And chronological means happening in what order so that you know what is going on. So now we're going on a trip. Let me back you up so I can show you how that works. Here we go. And we're traveling. We're moving again. We're moving. It's just me. Here we go. Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, we can say goodbye to our map. You now know where we're talking about. And we, by the way, are all right here on a globe. So if you wanted to see what it looks like on a globe where we're going, we got to go all the way around the globe, halfway around the globe, to get to where we're talking about today. That is a long way on an actual global scale to come around halfway around. So, briefly, let me talk to you about Egypt, just to show Egypt. My marker seems weak. Egypt is going to be our next major civilization. And just so you can see it better, because I know you're at home, Egypt. So, Egypt is going to be our next big civilization. It's going to be pretty close to ancient Sumeria, but it's going to be totally different in the way that it operates as far as culture and civilization. There's some similarities, but they're totally separated from each other. However, they're both very early civilizations. So we're going to see in Egypt, also you'll see some history around the year 300, which again, we're going to go to a timeline. I'll explain that in a second. And this is going to be BC, and I did a brief explanation, but I'll go over it again in depth. So Egypt is going to be in a pretty close, but a little bit separated by desert from ancient Sumeria, but it is going to be around the same time that we see ancient Sumeria. Now, Egypt is going to be based, I'll give you a couple things about Egypt. Their river is called the Nile River. Remember, civilizations need fresh water. We're going to talk about the Nile River and why it was so important to the ancient Egyptians, because it is going to be a life source. It is going to provide soil even. I'll explain how that works so they can grow crops. But Egypt is going to build humongous towers, pyramids, palaces, everything. You name it. They are building huge architectural feats that are just crazy to think about. That long ago, they're making buildings that are still standing today, which, again, we're going to get an idea of how long ago we're talking about right now. Because for Egypt, the important thing today is to understand it's happening around the same time as ancient Sumeria. They're going to be based on the Nile River, and they are going to become a unified civilization, which is going to be a little bit different than ancient Samaria in the city-states that we talked about, where they were their own political, units that made up that area. Egypt will become a unified empire, meaning they will be under one king called a pharaoh. But again, the important part about today is to explain chronological order. Now, I just want to have a timeline. There's a line. I explained this a little bit in the last video, how we are on a pathway down to get to year 0. And then from 0 we go up to 2020. But I still I got a few dates that were a little out of order, so I just want to explain it a little more in depth this time. So, in ancient Egypt, there's a lot of history. It goes on for a couple thousand years. So there's a lot of time to choose from. But let's take, for example, 1 year right here. And we're going to say 2500 BC, meaning we are before 0. That's before Common Era, but right now let's just worry about the dates. So 2500 BC, this is going to be, and as I told you before, we get to year 0 and then we go all the way up to 2020. That means that it takes 2020 years to get to 0. And in 2500 BC, we see these made, which are the Great Pyramids. Great Pyramids of Giza, 2500 BC. So that means, how long ago was this? Well, if we're in 2020, it takes 2020 years to get to 0, 2000, give or take, and it takes 2,500 years to get back to here, meaning that all told, if you add up that time, this is going to be 4,500 years ago. That's how long ago we're talking with ancient Egypt. 4,500 years. That is a long time ago when we see these great pyramids be built. And they're still there today, which is crazy. So, let's look at this. Let's get rid of 0, because we're not going to 0. We're not even going to 2020 right now. We're going to keep it around 2,500. We can start around 2,500 with ancient Egypt. And I want you today to look at some dates. So it's similar to the other assignment. Now you can find dates for Sumeria and Egypt. And I know we said ancient Egypt, because it is still here today, and Samaria, ancient Samaria, to find some dates that are going to be in the vicinity of 2500 BC. Now, we're going to 0. Let me put the 0 back on, just so we have an idea. Wait, 0's it's 2,500 years to the future. This way is our way to the future. And it seems weird because we're going to 0. So we're going down in numbers, but we're technically going into the future. So if I find a date that says 2000 BC, it goes on this side. This is the future, over here with me. Now, if I find a date from ancient Samaria that says, in 3000 BC, this happened. From 2500, we're going to go back to the past. We're going all the way over here, and we're going to put a line that says 3000 BC. So things to the past are towards my side, to the left. Things to the future are going to be to the right. And that's the way the dates go. Now, what if you find something that says it falls between 3000 and 2500 BC? Let's say 2700 BC. 27 would go here, 2700. That goes in between because it's before 2500, but it's after the year 3000. Now, if you need to look back and see the dates, or see this again to see what way is the future and which way is the past, that's fine. But it is important that we get it, because we need to have an idea of not only when things happen, but the order in which they happen, because that'll help you kind of put things into perspective, put things into place as far as our history class goes. So what I'm going to have you do is 4 dates. All my history classes are doing it. 4 dates on the board. So let's just take our 25. How about this? Everybody has 2500 BC on theirs. Everybody, all of you, 2500 BC, and it's going to be the pyramids. Pyramids at Giza, and you are going to draw 3 of them because that's where they are. And that's where you're going to start. You're going to start at the 2500 BC, the Great Pyramids, and then you're going to find ancient Samaria dates and Egypt dates. How many are you finding? That's right, you're finding 4. And you're going to get them on our timeline in the right order so I can make sure that we're there. And it's only 4 dates, but you will have to tell me what happened, and you will have to give me a picture, and that picture will include color, and that way I can see that we're off on the right foot. Everyone's doing a great job. Everyone's turning work in, which I'm loving to see. I just want to make sure we have this down pat before we get going further into our assignments, because we need to know what is happening and what order it's happening. But hey, great job so far. I'm proud of all of you, and have a great day, and I'll see you next class.